I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
I'm from the government and I'm here to help. The great Ronaldus Maximus, Ronald Wilson Reagan. I've got updates for you on the big port strike, the organized crime strike, the Gambino crime family strike, because it was sort of pseudo-resolved. And the media hasn't given Kamala credit for it yet. So it must not be a very good deal, because that would be the big lie that they would tell this morning if they had that big lie available to them. So we've got that. But I've got an update for you on that. Michael and I were just talking during the break, and Michael received a tweet. Well, you got a couple of other things too, sort of fun stuff going on here. It's nonstop, isn't it? Because of Al Gore, because of Al Gore's amazing internet. If Al Gore hadn't gifted us the internet, where would we be today? We wouldn't be getting emails. And the emails, one of the emails, you get bombarded there by all kinds of people. And one of the emails that rolled in was pretty funny. I want to get to that in a second. But first, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and it has to do with the hurricane and stress-related issues. But here is Newsweek magazine. They got a picture of Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. All the left, she really makes them crazy. Well, she reveals their craziness. She says stuff, and they reveal the fact over and over again that they're mental. It's just because they are mental. They're definitely mental. But here's the headline at Newsweek magazine. And we laughed at it because I kind of said the same thing earlier. I said, well, let me just get to this one. The headline is, Marjorie Taylor Greene appears to say Democrats can, quote, control the weather, end quote. Now, they never know when they're being mocked. I've been talking about this for many years, and Saul Alinsky talked about it in Rules for Radicals, and ridicule being your most potent weapon and all this stuff. And I was talking about that just the other day, too, on the radio about a week ago. But now, Marjorie Taylor Greene appears to say Democrats can, quote, control the weather, end quote. And Newsweek magazine, they're having a little hissy fit. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has sparked backlash after appearing to suggest that Democrats, quote, can control the weather, end quote. And she wrote, yes, they can control the weather, the Georgia Republican wrote on X, formerly Twitter, just like Fort Liberty. Camp Liberty is formerly known as Twitter. And then amazing. And she's ridiculing them, of course. She's mocking them. But they're so ignorant. They're so dumb. They're so sensitive. They're so embarrassing that when they're mocked, they just don't know how to respond. So they prove that they're idiots. Yes, they can control the weather, the Georgia Republican wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter, on Thursday evening. Quote, it's ridiculous for anyone to lie and say it can't be done, end quote, right? So that's what she tweeted. She tweeted that out. And now the left is very upset, and they're saying she's crazy. She's saying the Democrats can control the weather. Well, you guys, every time there's a hurricane, and, they happen from time to time, the deadliest hurricane in U.S. history was Galveston, Texas. I believe it was 1900. I believe it was in the year 1900, 124 years ago. But never mind that. Nobody ever mentions that. No, Katrina, because their memories are not really worth much. Remarkable stuff. Her comments come after Hurricane Helene swept across the southeastern U.S. after making landfall in Florida last week, inflicting damage from Florida's Gulf Coast to the Appalachian Mountains in Virginia. In another post on X, Greene, who is an ally of former President Donald Trump, wow, that's it. The Newsweek writer is an ally of Pol Pot, who bayoneted and clubbed millions of people to death. But never mind that. An ally of former President Trump shared a map of the region with a majority of counties colored red, indicating they vote Republican, and fewer in blue. This is a map of hurricane-affected areas with an overlay of electoral map by political party shows how hurricane devastation could affect the election, she wrote. Well, that is a perfectly legitimate story, and it's not Marjorie Taylor Greene alone that has brought that up, because there's a big election coming up next month, and, it could affect the election. So she put out an electoral map and said, here's the area affected by the hurricane. And she quipped, she's ridiculing, she's mocking that the Democrats can control the weather. It's ridiculous for anyone to lie and say it can't be done. See? And now again, it's like President Trump when he ridicules them. When he ridicules them, they take it seriously. Who takes it seriously, Michael? Those people. That's who. Those people. Newsweek has contacted Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene's office for comment via email outside business hours. They say outside business. I don't think she's going to get back to you because she's mocking you. She's ridiculing you. You people. Those people. Just amazing. Many took to social media to criticize and mock Greene for the remark. That's because they're not very bright, just like the typist on this story. The Congresswoman has a history of promoting conspiracy theories, does she? Like the vaccine doesn't keep you from getting the COVID-19 virus, the Wuhan Red Death. Is it like that? Like that? Or masks, like Joe Biden told us, masks, if you wear a surgical mask, it'll keep you from getting the Wuhan Red Death. Was that a conspiracy theory? Because, and then Joe Biden told us, you get the vaccine, you won't get the Wuhan Red Death, right? And if you get if you get the vaccine, you can't spread the Wuhan Red Death. None of these were all conspiracy theories, that misinformation, disinformation, spread by Joe Biden and the Democrat Party more broadly, and the news media, by the way. So she's ridiculing them and mocking them, and once again, they take it seriously because they don't know when they're being mocked and ridiculed. Just amazing stuff. Harry Sisson, S-I-S-S-O-N, a Democrat content creator. That's his job title. His business card says Democrat content creator. Told Greene, "You are dumber than a bag of rocks." First of all, Harry, the turn of phrase is a box of rocks, not a bag of rocks. So you just demonstrated your lack of intelligence and cultural awareness by saying you're dumber than a bag of rocks when the saying is you're dumber than a box of rocks. We know you're the dumbest member of Congress, he continues. You don't have to remind us every day. Again, she's just ridiculing you, you completely ridiculous person. Just amazing. Republicans against Trump attacked her, too. You guys are a little slow on the uptake here. I understand. Not very bright people. Pretty amazing stuff. Also, while we were sitting here and while we're on the air, Michael Piercy, minding his own business, got an email because of Al Gore, and entirely because of Al Gore. And the headline of the email is "Feeling the Election Anxiety." Feeling the election anxiety. That's it. And that's the headline. And you click on it, and it turns out it's for a marijuana outlet. If you're feeling the anxiety of the election, you should get stoned. You should get super stoned. You should smoke a lot of pot. Get a bong, pull some bingos, because you'll feel much better. The anxiety will go away. Many patients with anxiety find traditional medications ineffective. If you're considering cannabis, we make it easy to get a medical marijuana card online. And here it is, because it's understandable to feel stressed, it says, or anxious right now. That's why we want to share which cannabis strains can help you manage symptoms. So probably, what is this, like indica versus sativa? Is that the thing? Is there? And you probably want the indica if you want to. Is that right, Michael? If you want to calm down, that makes you sleepy. So that's better. Feeling the anxiety of the election. There it is. They've got the pot people on the loose. And again, Marjorie Taylor Greene, I said earlier that I blamed the hurricane on the Democrats because, after all, they're the ones that control the weather. We've been paying them. What did we give them? Like $1.5 trillion. It was supposed to be for something else, but it all went to green energy. It's green energy. And the green energy didn't stop the hurricanes. You know, Barack Obama, was during Barack Obama's presidency, we went for the greatest number of months in the recorded history of North America, the United States of America, the greatest number of consecutive months without a major hurricane making landfall in the United States of America. And nobody talks about that, do they? No, they don't. Isn't that amazing? All right, let's go back to the audio. Let's get to some audio here because there's more. The port strike kind of sort of came to a close last night because a deal was struck, and there are a couple of interesting elements involved in this. First of all, Harold Daggett, the gangster-style leader of the Longshoremen's Union, turns out he was really upset that the New York Post published information about him, his more than $1 million a year salary from the union. The fact that he was driving around a Bentley automobile, which is, typically a new Bentley's $300,000 or more. They're beautiful cars, If you got $300,000 for a car, knock yourself out. Mazel tov, congratulations. But he's driving around a Bentley. He's got a $2.4 million house in New Jersey. He's got another fabulous house in Florida. He had a 76-foot yacht, 78-foot yacht, something like that. And the New York Post published that. And as I understand it, the New York Post got a phone call saying, Mr. Daggett doesn't appreciate you publishing pictures of his residences and his yacht and talking about his Bentley. If you get my drift. All right, so apparently that phone call was made to the New York Post, rather. Not the Washington Post. They don't report anything. They don't report any news at all. But it turns out that this strike, which went on for 3 days, and hoarding was already underway. We talked about this on my Newsmax program last night as well. Hoarding begins as people fear shortages from port strike. And it's true, there were like big box stores from Staten Island and New York City to various parts of the country, grocery store shelves and big box store, Target and Home Depot and stuff. People are going in and stocking up, and people are buying up toilet paper and paper towels and all kinds of stuff, right? And so the news media labeled it hoarding. No, but it's panic buying, and panic buying was happening in New York and around the country. And, and that's kind of a big deal. Then last night, dock workers strike suspended. The strike was suspended a sentence. Tentative agreement includes 62% pay increase over 6 years, ABC Fake News reported. And I've got more for you on that, including what Joe Biden said after the thing. Also, I've got Liz Cheney coming up for you because she's a treacherous, traitorous party jumper and all that stuff. You know that the best-selling Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier uses Oxy technology that helps to quickly destroy many odors, viruses, mold, and a whole lot more floating around in the air in your home and your office. The Eden Pure has thousands of 5-star reviews on Al Gore's amazing internet. It works like a champ. We've got 2 of them at home and another one still in the box. Any smell will vanish just a few seconds with the thunderstorm being on. Listen, odors from trash cans, cigarette smoke, your mother-in-law's cooking, left-wing protesters. No match for the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. The powerful thunderstorm sends out O3 molecules, and these molecules seek out and help destroy odors. They even go behind and underneath furniture. Nothing can hide from the thunderstorm, and you don't have to buy filters and replace filters over and over again like you have to do on so many air purifiers. The Eden Pure, you can hold it in your hand. This big, plug it right into the outlet. It stays right there on the wall at the outlet. And Right now, you can save $200 on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for whole home protection. You're going to get 3 units for under $200, so you can put one in your basement, in your teenager's room, in your uncle's room, any place you like to breathe clean, fresh air. All you have to do is go to EdenPureDeals.com. EdenPureDeals.com. Use the discount code Chris3, Chris and the number 3 to save $200. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is Chris3. Yeah, I've got a lot more coming up. And I'm going to get to as much of it as I can because it's Friday and the weekend is almost upon us.
Who's going to win here in the long run? You're better off sitting down and let's get a contract and let's move on with this world. And in today's world, I'll cripple you.
All right, I've got a lot to say. Going back and forth with a friend of mine, with Tim, why is FEMA under the Department of Homeland Security and Alejandro Mayorkas in the first place? Why is the Secret Service now under the Department of Homeland Security instead of Treasury Department, where it historically had been? It's time to do away with the Department of Homeland Security. It's a Soviet bureaucracy that is not helpful and was a big mistake after September 11th. Let's go to John, calling from Bristow, Virginia. John, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Chris, I love your show. I have 4 or 5 very quick points. I spoke to a friend in Lake Lure, North Carolina, and he told me that, and that's very close to Asheville. I said, what's it like up there? He said, well, we just got power. He'd been running off a generator. And he said, I heard a reference to Lake Lure on the radio. I listen to WMA a lot. And I thought, gosh, I wonder what's going on with my friend. So I give him a call. And he said the entire Chimney Rock village was swept into the lake, everything.
Yep.
And the marina, everything. And I said, wow, and I was talking to my wife. I said, maybe I ought to just go buy an ATV and get a wagon behind it, like a landscape wagon or something, and just, bring water in there or food or whatever. He said it's absolutely impassable. You can't do it. The only way you can get in and out is by helicopter. And the FAA has now prevented private helicopters from bringing food and water to the people on the mountain.
Right. Right. I tell you, I've got audio for you coming right up of people from the disaster area telling what they're experiencing. I'll get to that right away. The headline in front of me now is North Carolina asks Zelensky for $100 billion in U.S. funding. It's the Babylon Bee. It's the people at the Babylon Bee. They're actually funny at the Babylon Bee. And that's a great one. North Carolina asked Volodymyr Zelensky in Ukraine for $100 billion in U.S. funding. He's got more U.S. dollars than FEMA, that's for sure. So maybe the state should go to Zelensky and ask for money, which is, the point of comedy, humor. Babylon Bee. Good stuff by them at the Babylon Bee once again. Raleigh, North Carolina, with civilians working hard to rescue their neighbors along the path of devastation left behind by Hurricane Helene and FEMA revealing a lack of available money. The state of North Carolina asked Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky for $100 billion in U.S. funding. That is good stuff. It's tragic that is funny at this point, but it's funny. Crazy man, crazy. Now let's get to the audio that I just mentioned to John, that we pulled North Carolina residents who have spoken to news people on camera. And here's a North Carolina resident by the name of Zeb Hadley. Zeb Hadley.
I've lived here my entire life. I grew up, saw Hurricane Hugo, Fran, Floyd, the list goes on. Nothing compares to what has happened out there. We're pulling 15, 19-hour days, and I've seen two FEMA officials, no trucks, no trailers, no camp. That's really the truth right now, and I just cannot. I feel like I'm living in an alternate universe. I don't understand where our government is.
No FEMA operations set up there. No, he talked about a camp. FEMA would come in and set up an operations command center, an outpost. None of that, not seeing any of it. Another North Carolina resident by the name of Brooke Barzik.
I think the one thing that stands out the most is even after it had been several days since it had happened, there still was no aid here at all. It's all community-based, essentially.
It means that your neighbors are responding and your neighbors are helping you, which you would expect because this is the United States of America and you can't, be surrounded completely by Democrats who are just sitting around waiting for the government to show up and cook your ramen noodles for you. North Carolina resident named Jordan Lanning.
It's too late. I mean, they took too long. It took them 5 days to get here. It's disgraceful. I mean, they keep saying we the people. No, there is no we the people. It's them versus us. So they're not for us.
It's them versus us. They're not for us. I tell you, the last handful of years, so many Americans have completely lost faith and confidence in the federal government and the government's ability to do the right thing and to show up. Woody Allen, 90% of life is showing up. Well, FEMA and the Biden-Harris administration failing the American people, failing horribly and miserably. And the people there by the millions know this to be the case, and we have a news media that's so corrupt that no one trusts them, and rightly so, understandably so. North Carolina feeling the brunt of this Hurricane Helene, and now feeling the brunt of the complete failure of the Harris-Biden federal response.
The real heroes of this community are actually the community itself. It takes so long to get papers signed in Washington. We've got boots on the ground here, actually, the neighbors helping neighbors. It doesn't matter about anything but other than help. I mean, dump trucks going up, people bringing their excavators, getting people's driveways cleared out, getting muck cleaned up, getting our infrastructure back. These guys have worked since the storm started.
And that's what's happening there. And and it does appear to be pretty much universal. But the fake fact checkers are attacking Donald Trump and anybody, especially a Republican, for saying that the federal response is at best flat-footed and, largely non-existent. Truly amazing stuff. The United States government, a catastrophic failure. By the way, President Trump is holding a rally tomorrow at the scene of the crime. He's going back to the field and the location where he was shot through the ear by the Democrat with a rifle. And there will be new and improved, reportedly, Secret Service coverage of the event and the event site. A lot of things have been updated. There will be a single command post and what they call a communication bridge so that the local law enforcement and the federal Secret Service agency will have be sitting next to each other, which I kind of thought always happened at events like this. But one single command post and communication bridge for local law enforcement and federal law enforcement. Law enforcement will be on top of the AGR building. I mean, it's literally the same site in Butler, Pennsylvania, where President Trump was shot through the ear. The J-13 incident. It was July 13th that happened, and President Trump is returning there tomorrow on October 5th. Election Day is November 5th. That's 1 month before Election Day. President Trump returning to the scene of the crime. But this time, Secret Service security changes. So a single command post and communication bridge so everybody will, none of this walkie-talkie stuff. Hey, you got one of these walkie-talkies? Law enforcement will be on top of the AGR building. Remember the one that the DEI choice at the Secret Service said it was sloped, and that's why agents couldn't be on the roof. But law enforcement will be on the roof of the AGR building, tomorrow, and tomorrow is the day. Security manpower will be in the hundreds. There will be drones in use for surveillance and overhead, and there might even be somebody on that water tower, that's in the background there, maybe just for show, if nothing else. But that might be an idea. And strangely, the New York Times has a story today, and it's being described. Charlie Kirk is writing about it. Says the New York Times has a devastating article on the condition of the Secret Service under the Biden-Harris administration. Charlie Kirk writes, agents are leaving in droves, meaning leaving the Secret Service, leaving the employ of the Secret Service. Agents are leaving in droves, especially the most talented and capable ones. Hiring standards have slumped. That's the word the New York Times is using, quoting. Hiring standards have slumped. Though the New York Times won't say it, we know from other reports that DEI, your Democrat Party Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, played a big role. The second in command of the men guarding the White House moonlighted as a real estate agent and gave promotions to agents who became his clients. That seems problematic. The New York Times says nepotism, favoritism, corruption, that is part of our culture here. That's what the New York Times is writing today about the Secret Service. The Secret Service is supposed to be the best of the best. Under the left, the Biden-Harris, and, apparently it was the woman who became the head of the Secret Service, remember her saying, oh, the roof is sloped. We couldn't possibly go up there. We're all in high heels. We're all wearing cherry red pumps with glitter. We couldn't be on the roof because it's sloped. But she apparently was selected by Jill Biden to be the head of the Secret Service. That is problematic. So the Secret Service is supposed to be the best of the best. Under the left, they've become a joke, just like the rest of the country, Charlie Kirk writes. An exodus of agents left the Secret Service unprepared for 2024, the New York Times headline. Punishing hours, dilapidated facilities, and an ill-conceived retiree program left the agency without the personnel it needed in a year of threats and violence. Well, I remind people of this every now and then. The Democrats should stop shooting people. I got an idea, Democrats. Stop shooting people. Stop showing up on rooftops with rifles. Stop showing up in hedgerows along golf courses with rifles. Another Democrat in Idaho was arrested about a week ago plotting to kill Donald Trump, but not Joe Biden and not Kamala Harris. I guess they've got the killers on their side, the psychopaths, the lunatics. Aren't they amazing? And in the meantime, we've got people like, Liz Cheney, who used to be a Republican and left the Republican Party, a Trump hater extraordinaire. And what is who is it calling her Trump? Oh, CNN, yeah, making like she's a Republican who's, and hopefully we'll get to that one too. But right now, let's go to soundbite number 12, because the news media is very excited that Bruce Springsteen, who can't sing, and I've never liked Springsteen's music. I really never have. And he's just kind of a nuisance. He's an annoyance. But he decided it was very important for him to post a video of himself. He should have played a little guitar and sang it, but saying that, surprise, surprise, he supports the Democrat Party candidate.
Donald Trump is the most dangerous candidate for president in my lifetime. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are committed to a vision of this country that respects and includes everyone. And they want to grow our economy in a way that benefits all, not just a few like me on top. That's the vision of America I've been consistently writing about for 55 years.
Yeah, Born in the USA is an anti-American song, by the way. It's an anti-American anthem. He's just another left-wing dimwit. He's worth hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, of course, and congratulations to him for, there are dogs in my neighborhood that sing better than he does. I'm a much better singer than he is. Although, he's written a lot of songs and gotten very wealthy off of his success, and congratulations for that. He also, remember, he took that farming subsidy from the IRS for one of his big estates in New Jersey because somebody was growing mung beans on a corner of the property or something like that. Isn't that amazing? And I'm sorry, Donald Trump was president for 4 years. He didn't jail his political enemies, but the Biden-Harris administration jailing Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon and more, January 6th. How about all the rioters that attacked the White House for 3 days, forcing the evacuation of the President of the United States to the bunker underneath the White House? How about equal treatment under law? That's something we used to respect. Just amazing stuff. Wah, wah, wah. Bruce Springsteen. Are you kidding me? Yeah, he's very excited to announce that, hey, he's supporting the Democrat nominee. I can't believe that, huh? Amazing. Yes, sir. All right, and then Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney showed up in Ripon, Wisconsin, which there's a schoolhouse there. There's the birthplace of the Republican Party. And she has Trump derangement syndrome to beat the band. And in Ripon, Wisconsin, isn't it wonderful how great Kamala is?
I tell you, I have never voted for a Democrat. But this year, I am proudly casting my vote for Vice President Kamala Harris.
Woo! And the crowd says woo, because now they love the Cheneys. Her father was a satanic Darth Vader war criminal who needed to be sent to The Hague and tried for war crimes. But now that he supports the Democrat nominee, they love Dick Cheney, too. They love what? Kamala was with Liz Cheney in Ripon, Wisconsin.
Liz Cheney really is a leader who puts country above party and above self, a true patriot. We may not see eye to eye on every issue.
Or any issue.
And we are going to get back to a healthy two-party system, I am sure of that, where we will have vigorous debates.
Stop shooting people. Honestly, you people. President Trump was having none of this Ripon, Wisconsin, Kamala, Liz Cheney stuff.
Well, Liz Cheney lost for Congress. She was terrible. Liz Cheney is a stupid war hawk. All she wants to do is shoot missiles at people. I really think it hurts. I think, frankly, if Kamala, I think they hurt each other. I think they're so bad, both of them.
President Trump, I was just talking about it, going to Butler, Pennsylvania, to the same field for another rally tomorrow, the field where he was shot by that Crooks Democrat on the roof with the rifle.
It's going to be an amazing rally. You know, Butler has become quite a famous place. It's like a monument now. It'll be a really big event, and it's going to be something, we'll celebrate the life of Corey, I think. And I want to celebrate the two gentlemen that got hit really bad.
Yeah, one man was killed, a firefighter, by the Democrat named Crooks. Two others were severely wounded when they were shot by Crooks, a Democrat, a Trump-hating Democrat. And President Trump is having none of it. He's going back to the same field in Butler, Pennsylvania tomorrow for a rally that will doubtless be 4 times the size of the already gigantic rally that took place there on July 13th, where he was nearly assassinated. I'm holding my right index finger 1 inch over my right thumb.
That building in particular has a sloped roof at its highest point. And so, there's a safety factor that would be considered there that we wouldn't.
So President Trump back to that same field, the same facility in Butler, Pennsylvania, where he was shot through the ear on July 13th. Going back tomorrow, 1 month to the day before Election Day, as we used to call it in the United States of America. And he is braving it and trusting the Secret Service and on and on. Now, a man who lives in the area there of Butler, Pennsylvania, his name is John Malice. John Malice was at the rally on July 13th, and he said he got there early, but it was too crowded and he couldn't get in, so he was outside the fence line, and he shot some of the video that you've probably seen on TV of the incident and the aftermath. But John Malice was on the Fox News channel early this morning, and he's planning on going to the rally again tomorrow. His name is John Malice.
I'm friends with a lot of Democrats, and I'm actually a registered Democrat myself. And A lot of the people that I know, they've been lifelong Democrats, multi-generational Democrats. They've always voted Democrat, and they're all voting for Trump.
Wow. All his Democrat pals, and he's a registered Democrat himself, and all his Democrat pals, he's a union guy and works with a lot of union guys who are lifelong Democrats.
I work in a union business, and everybody here's a Democrat, and they're all voting for Trump.
And they're all voting for Trump. It's a union business. They're all Democrats, and they're all voting for Trump, he says. John Malice said, well, why would these people who are lifelong Democrats vote for Trump?
They just saw the difference between, a Democrat-run country and a country that Trump was running. Things were so great with our business. It's just, the economy was better. We had a secure border. Everybody was living a great life under Trump, and then things changed drastically.
Registered Democrat John Malice with all of his Democrat friends who are not voting for Kamala Harris because they recognize that these last 3.5 years have not been the best time in the United States of America. This is, these are not the good old days. This is not an era of prosperity. It's an era of fighting Venezuelan gangs in the streets of the United States of America, of more than 100,000 fatal drug overdoses a year, of as many, Ellis Island in New York Harbor was open for about 64 years. And during those 64 years, a total of 12 million immigrants came through legally through Ellis Island. Have that many illegally come into the country under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.